So it's not surprising to me that when you build that instrument and collect light from the early universe, you see an early universe that's behaving in a different way. And so indeed, we're seeing galaxies that formed earlier than you would have predicted.
Therefore, I don't find it unexpected that when you construct a device and gather you see light from the early universe, a primordial universe acting in a different manner. Therefore, yes, in fact, we are seeing created galaxies sooner than you thought possible. The JWST, or James Webb Space Telescope, has astounded everyone since its debut, providing amazing insights on the cosmos. However, a recent finding has astronomers, scientists, and even futurists giddy with a variety of enthusiasm as well as fear. Physicist Brian Cox claims that JWST has noticed something that could alter the way we perceive existence in the universe indefinitely. Consider the lights of the city. Flashing proof of a civilization 7 trillion miles away, flourishing. Could we have just discovered evidence of intellect from other planets? It wasn't an overnight discovery. For astronomers have conjectured for decades on the possibility of identifying indicators very highly developed societies outside of our solar system. They have looked for radio waves, Dyson-like megastructures, spheres, as well as other technology signatures. However, the emphasis now has changed to something nearly unthinkable: soft, man-made light. As part of its purpose to look further into the cosmos than JWST has taken pictures previously that have caused scientists to wonder everything. Among these observations are patterns of light that are subtle but accurate, coming from a star system far away. What makes these lights intriguing, their irregularity, is what makes them patterns. They don't correspond to the emissions of galaxies, stars, or even cosmic phenomena such as quasars or pulsars. Rather, they are quite similar to artificial lighting, similar to the city lights that are illuminated on Earth come from room. Brian Cox, a respected expert in astrophysics, has referred to this discovery as both astounding and horrifying. He cautions, if these lights that are actually extraterrestrial civilization, we're about to see a revolutionary discovery and a possible existential conundrum. The James Webb's incredible power, the Space Telescope. Prior to going further into the consequences of this finding, let's review the reasons why JWST is so remarkable. In contrast to its predecessor, the telescope in the Hubble space, the infrared spectrum is where JWST works. Because of this, it can see through thick clouds of cosmic dust and catch light from the very beginning of the cosmos. However, its sensitivity is rather high. Beyond that, its enormous 6.5-meter main mirror, JWST, is able to identify the little light signals from billions of light years distant. The spectrographic skills allow it to examine the chemical makeup of the exoplanet atmospheres, identify possible bio-indicators such as methane and oxygen, and maybe see artificial light now from extraterrestrial societies. This capacity to examine light patterns with unmatched accuracy is what caused this latest distressing observation. So, how did JWST make a mistake upon these enigmatic lights that resemble cities? Proxima Centauri is being observed by the realm beyond. The finding started with a regular monitoring of Proxima Centauri, our solar system's nearest star. The distance to Proxima Centauri is only 4.20, about 25 trillion light-years distant, or 24 light-years miles. At least 2 are known to reside there. Proxima b is one of the exoplanets inside the habitable zone of stars. For astronomers have guessed for years that conditions might exist in Proxima b appropriate for life. However, JWST was Proxima Centauri is being studied. Its instruments detected subtle irregularities and patterns in the light data that didn't correspond to the organic emissions of either the star or its planets. First, these patterns were rejected by scientists as sound or a technological issue, but moreover the results of the investigation showed that the light signals were organized, rhythmic, and not at all random. When the information was compared with additional findings, they identified the source, a far-off system with more than 7 trillion miles distant. This system is situated in the light was visible in the Alpha Centauri area. Patterns that reflected the brightness changes in metropolitan areas as observed from Earth. Oh, would this be proof of an extraterrestrial society? To comprehend the consequences of this discovery, it's crucial to take into the qualities of artificial illumination. City lights on Earth release a particular light spectrum that is dominated by wavelengths emitted by street lamps, structures, as well as automobiles. These emissions design a distinctive signature that may be discovered in space. If comparable light patterns are being found in another stellar system, it presents a clear yet deep query. What or who is making them? Brian Cox has highlighted the importance of these results, asserting that these patterns of light are not likely to happen in nature. The signal's rhythmic form indicates purposefulness, planning, and technological sophistication. This isn't something generated by arbitrary cosmic events like as dark holes or supernovas. Rather, it indicates a knowledgeable source. But Cox has also issued a warning against making snap judgments. He cautions that although the evidence is strong, it must be put through strict examination. Is there a potential as yet unidentified natural cause for these lights? Or are we actually seeing the aliens' luminescent civilization? The consequences of finding cities in other planets. Artificial light's discovery 7 trillions of kilometers afar would have significant consequences for people. For decades, we have questioned if we are the only ones in the cosmos. This observation indicates that not only may our cosmic neighbors, however, could possess the technological know-how to light up their city. Cities that glow enough brightly for us to identify thousands of kilometers away. However, this discovery is accompanied by a feeling of discomfort. If there is sentient life in the universe, what does it signify for the position of humanity? In space? Are we ready to make interaction with a society that may be millions or even hundreds of years superior than us in terms of technology progress? And maybe the majority of crucially, are they already aware of us? Brian Cox has expressed his worries asterisk on the possible dangers of such a discovery. He notes that the past provides innumerable instances of what occurs when highly developed civilizations come across less sophisticated ones. The results are rarely quiet. Does the same process occur on a cosmic level? If these lights are indeed extraterrestrial civilization, ought we to try to make contact or stay quiet? Future plans for JWST and the look for responses? Following this revelation, astronomers are intensifying their attempts to validate and comprehend the enigmatic light patterns. JWST will keep an eye on the star system, collecting further information to ascertain the precise nature of the signals. In the meantime, ground-based observatories and other space telescopes are being enlisted to give additional perspectives. One of the primary aims is to preclude out alternate explanations. Could the lights be created by an odd kind of star or a natural phenomena we've never encountered before? Or could they be objects of our own technology, interference from satellites or space debris? These questions must be answered before scientists can conclusively infer that the lights are fake. If the signals are proven to be of alien genesis, the next stage will be to discover their origins. Are they came from a planet, a megastructure, or something even more exotic? The answers might reshape our knowledge of technology, life, and the cosmos itself. The consequences of this finding has repercussions for disciplines, biology, ethics, astronomy, geopolitics, as well as philosophy. Researchers are trying to figure out what the sight of lights that resemble cities may, implying that futurists and Brian Cox and other leaders encourage us to address fundamental issues like a revelation brings. A more thorough exploration of the light signals. The light's particulars JWST detected signals are still puzzle astronomers. In contrast to natural cosmic light that adheres to emission and absorption patterns considering the components in place, these signals have a distinct rhythm and spectrum. They vary in a manner that implies intentional modulation, not arbitrary cosmic action. According to the spectral analysis, peaks and valleys that correspond to what we learn about artificial lighting on this page. Earth. The wavelengths coincide with emissions from fluorescent and LED lights, lighting and technology that are used by urban landscapes. This intensifies the alluring potentiality that the signals could symbolize comparable technology utilized by a new civilization or an extraterrestrial, one type of light production outside of our understanding. These signals heighten the mystery. seem to have a clear diurnal cycle, regular dimming and brightening periods. This pattern could point to a rotation of planets with lights incoming and outgoing regions. The inference: the lights may be concentrated in particular areas, a lot similar to cities on Earth. Could this be some sort of swarm of Dyson? Another theory that is becoming more popular is that the source of the light may be an incomplete swarm of Dyson, an assortment of constructions centered on a star to absorb its energy. Although a completely built Dyson sphere would surround a star entirely, a swarm may comprise dispersed satellites or massive structures. Should these structures may give off light in ways that are compatible with patterns like cities, which might account for the observations. Physicists like Brian Cox have believed that a swarm of Dyson could fulfill several functions for an advanced civilization. Apart from energy gathering, it might offer habitats, industrial establishments, or even platforms for communication. The light that we're detecting could result from these actions. But this hypothesis has its doubters. A swarm of Dysons would probably release radiation in the form of heat, observable at different wavelengths. JWST has not yet discovered any proof of emissions of this kind, leaving the source of the light indicates an open query. Philosophical ramifications: are we prepared for communication? The possible presence of a sophisticated alien society makes us face difficult philosophical questions. What would such a finding significant to humanity's perception of identity and intent? For millennia, civilizations, religions, and scientific paradigms have functioned on the believing that people live in a special location in the cosmos. However, this discovery might dispel such belief. Brian, according to Cox, this is a Kaepernick moment. A change in perspective as significant as upon discovering that Earth is not the universe's core. If we're not no longer the sole sentient creatures, how does that change where we stand in the universe? Do we regard ourselves as belonging to a larger galaxy community or as solitary residents of a delicate planet? Leaders in religion are also considering the ramifications. A few consider the finding to be evidence of creation by God on a larger scale than previously envisioned. Others are concerned about it. Potentially contradict fundamental assumptions about the unique significance that humans play in the cosmos. How may this affect the religions throughout the world and the billions of those who follow them? The moral conundrum of creating make contact. Should humans make an effort to talk to this potential civilization, or is staying safer quiet? The argument over messaging mate, and alien intelligence, is many decades old, yet this finding has rekindled it urgently. Advocates claim that extending one's hand is the sensible next phase in an inquisitive and adventurous species. If they're sufficiently developed to generate city lights, they may potentially be capacity to take in and react to messages. But doubters like Stephen Hawking has long spoken about the risks of coming into touch. History offers warning stories of what occurs when civilizations with superior technology come across less sophisticated ones. Would the we are viewed by aliens as equals or as a resource to be taken advantage of? Brian Cox has reiterated these worries, implying that perhaps the best defense is quiet. Up until we have a clearer understanding of the goals and capacities of any possible neighbors from space, transmitting our presence can be considered careless. Wager. AI's function in examining the signals. As the Globe discusses the consequences of this finding, the role of artificial intelligence is a vital part in the data analysis process. JWST produces enormous volumes of data, simply too much for researchers who are human to procedure by hand. Sophisticated AI algorithms are being employed to filter the light signals, looking for trends and irregularities. These AI programs have received training using extensive databases of well-established cosmic phenomenon, allowing them to distinguish between natural and artificial light sources. In the instance among the enigmatic signals, the features were found via algorithms in line with artificial light, moreover encouraging conjecture over their genesis. However, AI is not perfect. Detractors warning that models for machine learning can generate erroneous positive results, assuming natural phenomena for man-made ones. In order to reduce this danger, scientists are comparing the results of the AI with independent theories and observations. The aim is to create a strong argument for the signal's legitimacy prior to taking any final assertions. Implications for future space travel exploration? The identification of city-like a far-off star system's lights might have a profound effect on space investigation. For many years, our efforts have concentrated on locating livable planets, microbial life, and biosignature life. This result implies that we should expand our search to encompass technology signatures and proof of advanced technology. NASA and other space agencies, ESA, as well as commercial businesses like SpaceX, are already looking for methods to include this fresh emphasis in their missions. Telescopes of the future might be created especially to identify heat emissions, artificial light, and further indications of technology. In the meantime, robotic probes could be dispatched to examine neighboring star systems that are outfitted with using tools that can verify the existence of alien civilizations. This change in emphasis also calls into doubt the moral obligations of investigation. How ought we to proceed? Possible interactions with intellect from other planets? What should our behaviors be governed by protocols? Humanity must answer these questions. Struggle as we stand on the precipice of a new age in space investigation. Getting ready for the unanticipated. As noted by Brian Cox, the finding of lights resembling cities is both a cautionary tale and an chance. If an advanced 7 trillion miles away from civilization, they may already be aware of us. Are we ready for any potential interaction or dispute? Cox has pleaded for countries to the public and science should take the process of discovery seriously. He promotes international collaboration and the development of methods for handling possible encounters with aliens. This involves developing global protocols, purchasing systems for planetary defense, and encouraging a scientific culture inquiry and receptivity. Searching for further signals. As the enigmatic lights continue to be the subject of rigorous research, astronomers are looking farther to other systems of stars. If these indications symbolize a novel type of technology signature, it can be comparable in other parts of the cosmos. There are patterns. By examining information from Hubble, JWST, and more observatories, researchers intend to find more applicants for research. Additionally, radio telescopes are being used in order to look for complementary signals like as electromagnetic signals that may go with the lighting. If we are able to identify various technological the same source's signatures, it would bolster the argument for a synthetic source. A warning to the future generations. As mankind faces the potential for sentient life outside of Earth, it's important to think about the legacy we depart for the next generation. These findings are not limited to science or technology. It concerns our group as a whole. Narrative as a species. How are we going to react to the most important query of all? Are we by yourself? As Brian Cox has shown, significance of humility, inquiry, and collaboration in the face of uncertainty. He views this time as a chance to bring people together for a same goal, the pursuit of comprehension. Whether it turns out that the lights are proof of an aliens or something else, surprisingly, they serve as a reminder of the size and awe of the cosmos. In conclusion, a fresh phase in cosmic exploration. The public and experts alike are captivated by the discovery of enigmatic city-like lights located 7 trillion miles distant. It calls into question our presumptions regarding intellect, life, and our position in the cosmos. One thing is clear as we keep looking at these signals. We have only just begun to explore the cosmos, which is full of surprises. Brian Cox's caution serves as a reminder of our common humanity as well as a call to action. We must continue to be inquisitive, cautious, and unified in the face of the uncertainty. Our investigation of the universe has entered a new phase thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope. One thing is known, but what comes next is unclear. The experience will change us just as much as the things we learn along the road. A new astronomical age. How the game is altered by JWST. The James Webb Space Telescope is more than just a technical wonder of the contemporary day. It is a window into the early cosmos, a time machine, and it may one day be used to discover extraterrestrial civilizations. We must acknowledge how JWST has radically altered the landscape of astronomy in order to fully comprehend the significance of this finding. We can now examine things and occurrences at a degree of detail that was previously unthinkable because to its unparalleled capacity to detect weak infrared signals. For example, the search for life is already being revolutionized by JWST's ability to probe the atmospheres of distant exoplanets. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, and even complex chemical molecules are among the components and substances that scientists may detect by examining the light that travels through these atmospheres. An even greater advance is represented by the finding of city-like lights. We may now be witnessing the most advanced phases of life rather than its rudimentary origins. Civilizations that have advanced to the point that they can produce artificial lighting on a global basis. The fact that this finding was made by chance is amazing. Although the main goal of JWST is to investigate the birth of stars and the beginnings of galaxies, its sensitivity to light has created a whole new field of inquiry. Although it was always a speculative aim, the prospect of maybe detecting technological fingerprints or signs from alien civilizations today seems tantalizingly close. The science of identifying extraterrestrial lights. It's not easy to find artificial lights from a far-off planet. We must examine the science of light and how JWST unravels its secrets in order to comprehend how scientists were able to recognize these signals. Light from a star bounces off the surface and atmosphere of a planet as it reaches it. A lot of data on the planet's composition, temperature, and even its capacity to support life is carried by this reflected light. However, what if not all of that light is merely reflected? What if it comes from man-made sources like industrial facilities or street lights? The intensity and wavelength distribution of artificial light define its own spectral signature. The orange-yellow glow of sodium vapor street lights or the blue-white light of LED systems, for instance, frequently dominate the visible spectrum light emissions from our cities on Earth. The sophisticated spectrometers at JWST can pick up on these minute irregularities in light data. Astronomers observed anomalies in the light from the far-off star system that were not consistent with natural processes. Similar to the rhythms of Earth's own metropolitan landscapes as they change from day to night, the light varied in a way that suggested an artificial source, with periodic patterns of fading and brightening. While looking for context, is this an unfounded alarm? Despite the excitement of the finding, experts remain wary. Numerous times throughout astronomy's history, encouraging signs have proven to be false alarms. The so-called wow signal, a powerful narrowband radio signal discovered in 1977, is among the most well-known instances. Although it first raised questions about extraterrestrial intelligence, its origin is still unknown and it was never seen again. Is this another instance of misidentification with these city-like lights? Numerous more theories are being investigated by astronomers. A peculiar kind of star or stellar phenomena might be the source of the light patterns. For example, magnetic activity or interactions with neighboring partners can cause some stars to fluctuate in brightness. Nonetheless, the observed light's rhythmic and organized appearance clearly points to an artificial origin. Another option is that our own technology is causing the signals. Interference is becoming a bigger problem for astronomers as more satellites and space junk circle the planet. Are the lights messages or reflections from our own instruments? Given JWST's accuracy, this situation is rare, but it cannot be completely ruled out. The scientific community is currently mobilizing to support or refute the results. To collect further data, more space telescopes and ground-based observatories are being called upon. The argument for an artificial origin will become more compelling if the signals continue to exist and cannot be explained by natural events. The uncovering of extraterrestrial cities and its philosophical ramifications. For a time, let's imagine that the lights are artificial. What implications does this have for humanity? One of the most significant developments in human history would be the discovery of an extraterrestrial civilization. It would compel us to address important issues like the nature of intelligence, our position in the cosmos, and the prospects for our own species. Whether the civilization generating the lights is aware of us is among the most pressing issues. They may be able to detect Earth's technological signals, radio waves, satellites, and even our city lights if they are sufficiently developed to light up their metropolis. Are they observing us the way we are now observing them? And if so, what do they hope to achieve? Brian Cox has issued a warning on the possible risks associated with this kind of finding. He makes analogies to the history of Earth, when conflicts between societies with varying degrees of technology frequently resulted in catastrophe. For instance, the introduction of European colonists to the Americas resulted in the demise of native societies and the death of innumerable people. On a cosmic scale, would a comparable process occur? Cox also poses moral dilemmas regarding our proper course of action. Should we make an effort to speak with an extraterrestrial society, or should we keep quiet? The choice is not a simple one. Making contact may present us with hazards we may not completely comprehend, but it may also present amazing chances for cooperation and education. AI's function in data analysis. Artificial intelligence is one of this discovery's unsung heroes. It is astounding how much data JWST has gathered, far more than any human team could examine alone. Sorting through this data, finding trends, and highlighting abnormalities has been made possible in large part by AI systems. In this instance, the erratic light patterns were initially identified by an AI system. These algorithms may identify outliers, or signals that don't fit into any recognized category, in addition to being taught to recognize the signs of other cosmic occurrences. Following the AI's flagging of the data, human scientists took over to do additional analysis. There are two sides to the application of AI in astronomy. On the one hand, it enables us to swiftly and effectively process enormous volumes of data. However, it calls into doubt interpretability and dependability. How can we be sure the AI isn't committing an error? How do we make sure a conclusion that the AI proposes is one that people can comprehend and confirm? What implications does this have for the hunt for extraterrestrial intelligence? The finding of city-like lights 7 trillion miles away marks a paradigm change in the hunt for SETI, or extraterrestrial intelligence. For many years, SETI's primary focus has been on radio signal detection. Inconclusive results have been obtained thus far from projects like the Allen Telescope Array and Breakthrough Listen, which have searched the skies for transmissions from extraterrestrial civilizations. This novel method of looking for technological indicators, such as artificial light, broadens the scope of SETI in fascinating ways. It draws attention to the possibility that JWST and other next-generation telescopes could find evidence of extraterrestrial life without using radio waves. It also suggests that we may have been searching for the incorrect signals all along. Given that city lights can be identified from trillions of miles away, what additional technological indicators could we discover? Could we see the construction of massive structures like Dyson spheres, the chemical traces of pollution in their atmospheres, or even the heat emissions of extraterrestrial industrial processes? The wider ramifications for humanity, the possibilities are as boundless as the universe itself. This discovery has significant social and cultural repercussions in addition to philosophical and scientific ones. Our perception of ourselves would be drastically changed by the knowledge that we are not alone in the universe. As humanity realizes that it is a part of a greater cosmic community, it may inspire a new sense of unity. On the other hand, as different countries and groups try to understand and react to the discovery, it might deepen already existing divisions. According to Brian Cox, such a discovery might act as a wake-up call for humanity. He contends that the existential concerns brought up by the potential existence of extraterrestrial civilizations outweigh the problems we currently face, such as climate change, inequality, and political instability. Maybe realizing that we are not alone would inspire us to put aside our disagreements and cooperate for the benefit of all.